will be the year that I will find my place. So look out world, 'cause here I come. I'm coming for you fast. What's done is done, and what's gone is gone, and my future's not my past. It's a new day for me. I feel it in my bones, I feel alive, I am set free. It's a new day for me. Nothing in this world will interfere. This is my year. Oh, this is my year. Yeah, this is my year. This is my year.
My dear brothers and sisters, at the very outset, God's blessings upon each one of you. Today the Gospel is from the Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. And I'd like to give you a small reflection on the Gospel of today. If we were to look at the Gospel, the ministry of Jesus, there are three important things that Jesus will do in his ministry. He will preach, he will teach, he will heal. And a lot of his ministry is about healing. It's about healing. Jesus heals the mind, he heals the body, he heals the heart, he heals the soul. Now during Jesus' time, definitely there were a lot of healers. There were a lot of healers who could cure people of ailments of the body. But Jesus is different. Jesus is different in the sense he not just cures them, but he brings them back to fullness of life. He brings them back to fullness of life. And so let me explain. During Jesus' time, there were different types of illnesses. Different types of illnesses that affected various zones of one's body. So the first one was the zone of mission, or the zone of accomplishment. What a human being could do and what a human being could not do. And in order to accomplish something, the hands and the feet were very important. Without one's hands and without one's feet, one was not able to accomplish one's mission. So to be crippled, to have a crippled hand, to be lame, etc., was considered a great curse. So many examples we will have who Jesus will say to the man with the crippled hand, stretch out your hand and Jesus will cure him. To the people who were lame, he would make them walk again. So this was the first zone of ailments, ailment of mission, of accomplishment, which basically affected one's hands and one's feet. The second type of ailment was in the zone of communication. And what were the important organs for communication? It was one's mouth and one's ears. So not to be able to speak and not be able to hear, people were not able to communicate. So on the level of the heart, there was something wrong. The heart is the center of communication. And so Jesus constantly is meeting people, and he will make the dumb speak and he will make the deaf hear. So that was about the zone of communication. The third important zone of healing that a lot of people wanted was on the zone of intuition, the capacity to see, the capacity to think, the capacity to be able to be logical in one's mind. And so for a person who was out of his mind, for a person who was blind, who could not see, this zone of intuition affected one's person. And so every person who was blind, who was out of his mind, sought healing so that he could get back into this zone of intuition. He would be able to think clearly. And Jesus very often would heal people, give them back their sight. For those who were out of their mind, Jesus would be able to heal them. So right from the moment Jesus enters into the temple, opens the scroll from the book of Isaiah, these are the things that Jesus will do. The blind would see, the deaf would hear, the dumb would speak, the lame would walk. These were things that were important to people. But besides healing of the body, besides healing of the mind, and besides healing of the heart, which were zones of mission or accomplishment, a zone of intuition, and the zone of communication, there was also this zone that many people considered was not possible to cure, and that was the zone of the spiritual, where unlike other healers were not able to heal and bring back people to wholeness, Jesus was ready and able to do it. So unlike the scribes, unlike the Pharisees, unlike people of the law, Jesus now comes, he teaches with power and he teaches with authority. And so it is in this context that I would like to place today's gospel. Today's gospel from the Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. Where is Jesus? Jesus is in the synagogue, a sacred place. It is the Sabbath, a sacred time. And so in this sacred space and sacred time, in the synagogue itself, here is a man who is possessed. Here is a man who is possessed by the evil one. So in the presence of the all-powerful living God is also the presence of the evil one. That's a challenge. To be in the presence of an evil one simply meant that the place would be defiled, and any person who came in contact with the evil one would also be defiled. So while the scribes, the Pharisees focused a lot on the purity codes and kept on telling people, be careful, do not associate with a leper because a leper is unclean, and if you associate with them, you become unclean. And here is this man who is possessed by a devil, by the evil one. And so in simple words, the synagogue itself has been defiled. The Sabbath, the holy of all days, has been defiled. And what does Jesus do? Jesus is not one who has come to be so rigid as to stand by these purity codes. Jesus reaches out and is able to challenge the evil in this man. And so this is the fourth zone where Jesus is able to handle the zone of the spiritual. The zone of the spiritual belonged to God, not to the evil one. And Jesus had the authority to tell the evil spirit in this man, come out of him. Come out of him. The evil one recognized that it was only Jesus who could destroy him. And so the challenge in the temple for Jesus is, should I stand by the purity laws? Should I not work a miracle because it is the Sabbath day? But Jesus goes beyond. He breaks all these taboos, he breaks all these traditions, and he reaches out to this man who is possessed. If one had a disease, if one had an illness, it was considered to be a curse of God. And they considered that God was far away from them. But Jesus now changes everything. He says, no, God is not everywhere. God is here. God is here. And God wants to bring you back to healing. All that you need to have is have faith. This is the new teaching. This is what Jesus gives. He teaches with power and he teaches with authority. And he not only has it with him, when he calls his disciples and he sends them out 2 by 2, he gave them power and he gave them authority. Unlike the scribes, unlike the Pharisees who taught what Moses taught, Jesus will say, but I say this to you. So often in his teachings, Jesus will not refer to what was there of the past. Jesus will say, but I say this to you. Jesus had authority. Jesus is this eternal word come down from heaven, and he is able to make this word come alive. A word that brings new life. Only say the word and my servant will be healed. There is power in the word of Jesus. There is power, my dear friends. So often we forget this. We forget this. So what does the reading of today challenge us to? We look into our own lives and we know that perhaps we too are ailing in these various zones. When I see a person who is in need and I do not reach out, when I'm selfish, my hand is crippled. When I see someone along the road who is injured because of an accident and who needs help, and if my feet does not help me to move towards that person, then I am lame. So Jesus is challenging me and saying, reach out, stretch out your hand. Stretch out your hand. You don't have to be crippled because of selfishness. Our hands are not crippled because of illnesses, but our hands sometimes are crippled because of our selfishness, of our inability to reach out. The same with our feet. Blessed are the feet of those who bring good news. And so if there are people around me who are hungering for the good news, and if I am not an evangelist and I do not walk towards them to bring this good news, then I am lame. I am spiritually lame. I need healing. What is it that I hear? What is it that I see? There are so many things we blind ourselves to. We don't want to see what's happening around. There is so much of pain, so much of hurt, so much of inequality. And if I, in my own way, am not able to do something, then I am blind. I am blind. I need healing. There is so much that I hear. And how do I handle what do I hear? There is so much of evil talk. There is so much of backbiting that I hear. There is so much of fake news that I constantly hear. How am I able to be a channel of God's healing in a world that is deafened to His word, deafened to good news? Jesus needs me. Jesus needs you. The same with our mind. If I am not able to see, if I am not able to think, if I am not able to use my intelligence in a proper way, then I am out of my mind and I need healing. So the challenge for each one of us, my dear friends, during this time is, am I ready to stand in the presence of Jesus, who is there with all authority, with all power, to bring me back to wholeness? The sacrament of confession is there. The sacrament of the Eucharist is there. Somehow during this lockdown period, we have not been able to receive these sacraments frequently. But now the doors are slowly opening. And the challenge for each one of you is to get back to Jesus, the healer. He is there to heal you and to bring you back this fullness of life. Today, my dear friends, is also the feast of Don Bosco. And Don Bosco was one who brought a lot of healing into the lives of young people. Look at Don Bosco's life. Read his story. There are so many miracles. But more than all the physical healings, Don Bosco was a healer of souls. The sacrament of confession was a very important sacrament for Don Bosco. The sacrament of the Holy Eucharist and the sacrament of reconciliation were two beautiful sacraments of healing that Don Bosco administered to his young people. And he was able to make saints out of them. May Don Bosco's challenge for each one of us to be good Christians be an opportune moment for us to avail ourselves of the beautiful sacraments of the Eucharist and reconciliation, so that you and I can come out of this world of darkness and encounter Jesus, the fullness of life. So I challenge you. I pray that the Lord bless you, help you with this small little reflection to help you these days to make of your life a beautiful gift to God, a beautiful gift of being a totally healed person. May God bless you.
I'm Saint Lawrence. If you want to grow spiritually and know more about Jesus and His teachings, please subscribe to the channel.
I'm Saint Bonaventure. And if you enjoyed and learned something new, then please press the like button.
I'm Saint Philomena, and I want you to please share this video with your family, friends, and all your WhatsApp groups.
I am St. Thomas of Villanova, and I want you all to comment a word or a scripture touch you the most watching this video.
Hi friends, I am Saint Monica, and today I want to encourage you all to press the bell icon mentioned here below in order to get notified about every new spiritual content on this channel.
Stay safe, stay blessed, stay connected.